Our district is growing faster than we can handle. I've got 30 students in all of my sections, yet I never get any parapro support. I know I just have to deal with it, but I'm so tired of trying to make it work.
I know it's frustrating, but I recently read a book for my master's class titled The Art of Possibility. It's written by a husband and wife team, and they discuss how important it is to be present in the way things are.
I don't understand.
They say that in order to move on from a situation and to improve it, that you must be aware or present about your feelings. So how exactly are you feeling?
I'm frustrated that there is only one of me and so many students. I don't feel like I am doing enough to help them, and at the same time, I'm receiving no additional support. I'm tired of feeling like I'm not enough, and I feel guilty that I can't be more for my students.
I completely understand your feelings, and I often feel the same way. Recently, however, I've become more informed with RTI. It's an intervention process that our principal loves and uses, but I wasn't completely aware of its uses.
So what exactly is it?
RTI is a 3-tiered intervention system. Most of our students fall into Tier 1, where they are successful just with quality classroom instruction. Basically, they can reach those standards based on what we teach daily. However, if students aren't meeting the learning targets that we set for them in Tier 1, then we administer interventions depending on the learning target and student. This is where the other 20% of our students fall, either in Tier 1 or Tier 2 or Tier 3.
What's the difference between Tier 2 and Tier 3 then?
In Tier 2, students need additional support to reach the learning targets, whether that be from us, as classroom teachers, or a paraprofessional. In Tier 3, students are generally given an IEP and spend additional time with a special education teacher to meet their needs.
So it seems like most of our students would fall into Tier 2 if it is those who need additional support.
Well, students can move throughout the tiers as necessary. For example, my students and I have been working on using context clues to determine the meaning of vocabulary words. Many students did not meet these learning targets, so I developed an intervention plan for them. During TCB, for 6 weeks, we worked on the foundational skills necessary to be proficient with this standard. These interventions involved peer tutoring, working one-on-one with me, and other supplemental activities. After our extra time spent working on these skill sets, the students retook the common assessment, and then I determined whether we need to work on more of these skills together or if they were proficient based on the results of the assessment.
So how do we figure out what tier they belong in the first place?
We use common assessments, the Scholastic Reading Inventory, or the SRI, and the data from previous year's state scores from the Michigan Test of Student Educational Progress, or the MSTEP.
I see. It seems like RTI take what we do naturally as teachers and give it some sort of structure.
Exactly. Plus, overall, it makes it easier for us to meet the needs of all of our students, no matter how many there are. It keeps us accountable and on track.
Well, thanks. I'm sorry for venting. Sometimes this job can feel absolutely exhausting.
Trust me, I understand. In the book I mentioned earlier, the authors also talked about the fact that we have to be aware of these cycles of thought we get into. They call it the downward spiral. Basically, it's the thought process of, if it's bad, it'll always be bad. Or if everything is hard, no one is willing to help. We all have these feelings and moments of doubt, and that's okay, but we have to be able to change our thinking to move on. The authors Zander and Zander say, being with the way things are calls for an expansion of ourselves. We're all working on being better.
That all makes complete sense. I find myself in those spirals too often. But I appreciate your willingness to help change my thinking.
That's what I'm here for. Plus, now you know how to talk me out of a downward spiral in the future.
Absolutely.